What is up, boys and girls? It's your boy Luis Torres, and I decided to get a few things. And of course, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I am an amazingly pro synergy module system. So I have the Fortin Killer Cali. Stay tuned. What is up, you guys? It's your boy Luis Torres, and you know, I like buying things here and there. I like testing things, seeing, how great they are, how terrible they are. But one of the things that I've been super pro with is the synergy system. So I ended up buying the Sin 1 from one of my buddies and slowly started to get different modules, and then it got to the point where Synergy was just like, I'm gonna send you some modules. So I was just like, that's cool, and here's the one thing. They're so great that I've purchased so many, and the Fortin Killer Cali is one of them. Of course, I already have the Fortin Cali. I have a Fortin Sigil. But what you guys may not know is this guy right here with the Marshall badge, because I decided to rebadge it, because I'm totally that guy. That's actually a Chariotone Yeti 50 watt, which is actually based on the Fortin Cali. Aside from that, I also have, and let me move this over here, I have the Armored Sabo. And for those of you who follow James and the growth of the company, then you would know that that amp, before it was going to be named the Sabo, was actually going to be called the Cali Killer. Or at least it was going to be like it had some letters, so it was going to be like an acronym. So it was just real interesting. And then, of course, they decided not to do that. Let me fix this here. So of course, here I am now with the new Fortin Killer Cali Synergy module. And here's the one thing with Synergy. And of course, I have a bunch of amps. And dude, the one thing with these heads is they're so expensive. I have a Bogner Uberschall, I have the Fortin Cali, that thing's going for like $4,000 now. I have the Splon Quick Rod. So a lot of these amps, they're just pricey, dude. They're pricey, man. Listen, if we all had a tree out back that was just producing pounds and pounds of cash, that would be one thing. If we were all millionaires, if we were all wealthy, who cares? Just send me everything. But the one thing is that for the price of the Fortin Cali, you can get the Sin 1, the Fortin Killer Cali, along with, I'm going to be running this out of my KSR PA50, which is a 50 watt portable power amp, and still be able to get yourself a Burns case and get yourself the Fryette Deliverance, the Bogner Uberschall, which oddly enough, my Bogner Uberschall, which is a Rev Blue, this Bogner Uberschall actually, and that's my all-time favorite amp, is that Bogner. This is actually voiced better than the Rev Blue. It has more of a modern taste to it. I have this Engel Powerball. I have the Soldano SLO2. I have the original SLO. I have the PV, with what they consider the PV 6505. So So I have a bunch of them, and they're absolutely amazing because in the end, like I said, unless we're made of money or have a tree out back that's just pumping out cash all week long, you want to try to, at some point, get a bunch of different amps, right? There's only so many PVs that you can buy, right? But you can go to town with all these synergies, and dude, they sound incredible. Incredible. And, so let's go back just a little bit. I remember years ago, someone mentioned Randall having these modules that you can just buy the head and you just fix them with whichever module you're thinking of getting. And I remember at the time just thinking, it's kind of gimmicky, oh yeah, now I can have a Marshall, I can have a this, I can have a Mesa Boogie. Oh, that's the one thing also. I have my Mesa triple rectifier, but I also have the Synergy Mesa D-Rect, which is a dual rectifier tone. So here I am being told about this Randall, or Randall having these, I think it's the RMS line. Does that sound right? RMS. And some issue going on. Now there's a company called Synergy, and they kind of took over the patent, and just, in the end, it was just like, all right, let's see what this is all about. So I had watched a few videos, and one of my buddies, Nick, who I bought my Sin 1 from, was like, dude, this is like a game changer. And I'm just like, okay, I've heard that before, that it's a game changer. And it wasn't until I started using it that it honestly really is. So if you're the type of guy that's like, I have to have all these amps, great, more power to you. I'm clearly one of those guys. I think I have 19 amps across this entire circle, but I have 52 amps total. But you don't need that. Like, I realized that I'm happy with the KSR PA50 as the power amp, but I also have an Engel 830, which is the E830 power amp. If you have a decent amp, a tube amp, and you have a send return, you can use this guy, the Sin 1, and you just route it through the back, and you basically bypass the preamp on your amp. So you're using that as just the power amp. You're using the Sin 1 as your preamp, and now you have your cabinet. But literally, whichever tone you feel like swapping out to, you can. Or just do, let me just turn this a little bit. Just do what I did on this side, where I went ahead and, this is a 4-space rack. This is a 2-space with my ADA MP1 in there. This is the Myasnikov Super Lead. So that plugs into the decimator. This is the noise gate and into the Engel. But, you can kind of go any which way. I can plug it into my KSR. I can plug it into my Bogner, my Armored, my Laboga. So regardless of the amp that you have, you can 1000% be able to have all these amplifier variants. And if you decide to get a rack system, they sell the actual rack unit that you can just put, max is 2 different modules in there, but you can toggle between the two. So you can have, Fryette Deliverance, and then have the Fortin Cali Killer on the other side. And that's just, that's just mind-blowing. Like, think about that. The fact that you can swap between 2 completely different tones in the ballpark. And of course they have, some modules that are just beautiful when it comes down to clean channels. But those are where you can get to with Synergy. So let me stop yapping. I'm going to grab my Rand Crusher 6 and plug into this Cali Killer. right, guys, so there you have it. Again, Synergy Sin 1 with the Killer Cali Fortin module. It's an absolute monster, just a beast of a module. And also, if you haven't picked up one of these guys, you have to. This is the KSR PA50. This is a 50-watt little thing that you can just carry around. It has two 6L6 tubes in the back. This little handle tilts over, and don't make fun of the color. I got a better price because no one wanted this shade of aquamarine. So I have an aquamarine power amp. So, but listen, but in the end, listen, literally this into this, and this is your touring rig, you know, and every venue is going to have a 4x12 cabinet. So you literally lug those two. And worst case, if you feel like you need a backup, get yourself the Synergy rack, which is, so they have a few things, right? They have the Synergy rack where you can put two different modules in there, but they also have a power amp, so you can have that there. And then that's literally this guy. You have the Synergy rig as your backup. These guys are the ones that you actually lug around to the actual show. And that's it. And you call it a day. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And seriously, if you haven't tried Synergy gear, yo, it is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And I know all of you guys have amps or guitars that you never use. Like, literally sell them. Get yourself Synergy gear. And then leave me a comment. And I know already that it's going to be like, dude, this is legit. And I'm going to be like, I told you so. So guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. I'm going to have a bunch of new videos coming up soon. I'm going to do another video with the SLO2 Synergy module, the Direct, and I'm going to compare that to my dual rectifier also, along with the new 2716 Deluxe pedal. I should probably have that video out in the next week or two. But guys, stay tuned. I am back and making a bunch of more and additional videos. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, this guy will talk to you soon.